Hello, we are Group 2. Today we are going to consulting a new property for Hilton. Our presentation will have 6 parts. This project is to consult a new hotel for Hilton in the luxury sector or in the mid-scale sector. There are 2 potential brands to choose, Wardrobe, Astoria, or Hamilton by Hilton. They can be located into 2 cities, Hong Kong or Singapore. We choose Marriott International as our main competitor.
Singapore is one of the most developed countries in the world and Asia. The politics scenario in Singapore is a bit different from other Asian countries. Singapore has a unique political culture as they believe in authoritarian rule and take decisions based on rationality and pragmatic sanction. Furthermore, Singapore believes in multiculturalism and thus is a place where people from around the world live. Singapore has strict laws and they are very much focused on implementing the laws. That's why they are now the first least corrupt countries in the whole world and the most politically stable country in Asia. The Hong Kong Policy Act, by which the U.S. treats Hong Kong as separately from mainland China, has been providing a shield to Hong Kong from the U.S.-China trade war. However, recent protests in Hong Kong regarding Chinese interference due to the amendment of the extradition bill, this has caused some political instability. Singapore has achieved significant economic growth in the last few decades, even though it has become a developed country. It is still maintaining a stable GDP growth of around 3% for the last 5 years. However, since the global economy is expected to go through a slowdown phase in the next few years, World Bank forecasts show Singapore is supposed to grow at a rate of 2% in the next couple of years. GDP per capita of Singapore is 8th highest in the world. Economy is open the door for foreign investment and also providing incentives to local business to grow. This free market economy is now second in World Bank's ease of doing business ranking. Furthermore, as a result of the coronavirus outbreak, hotel occupancy has been significantly reduced by 20% due to fear of spreading the disease, consequently decreasing profits and disrupting economy. Hong Kong economy showed a similar trend as Singapore. GDP growth was stable at around 2.5%, and it forecasted to grow the same pace in the next few years. They have the 13th highest GDP per capita in the world. Hong Kong adopted a currency board exchange rate regime and paid to the US dollar, which is a major risk for foreign investment. They are currently third in the ease of doing business ranking and have a very low tax to GDP ratio of only 13%. Due to recent outbreak of coronavirus, Hong Kong's tourist arrivals have dropped by 96% in February due to the travel being implemented getting progressively more strict. In general, of this year, percentage of occupancy in Hong Kong hotels was reduced by 33.4% from 89.5% in January of 2019. Hong Kong has been more severely impacted due to 78.3% of its visitors being Chinese, most of which being business people who have been asked to stay in isolation to reduce virus spread. Now let's look at the social factor. Though Singapore is an Asian country, the mentality is more like European. A major factor behind Singapore's advance it is tech-savvy, educated population who focus a lot on personal growth, openness, and equality. However, even though Hong Kong is well developed, the population density is very high and income inequality is giving birth to social class problems, such as lack of quality healthy care and education. Furthermore, Google HK report shows only 42% of the Hong Kong population is tech-savvy. The people are generally hardworking, adaptable to different situations, and open-minded.
About Singapore technology factors, the Hotel Innovation Committee, led by the Singapore Association and supported by the Singapore Tourism Board, serves a high demand for technologies to innovative solutions that will benefit and transfer the hotel industry. In 2018, the HIC launched the Smart Hotel Technology Guide 2018 to identify technological solutions. The industry is shifting to the manpower lean model, less humans, more robots. E-visitor authentication will do away with manual processes and reduce hotel check-in time by up to 70%, and the data will be sent to the immigration and checkpoint authorities to verify after stay. Progressive Asian cities like Singapore have unveiled a smart technology hotel roadmap to help the industry advance. About Hong Kong technology, HSH created Gaia, the world's first AI assistant helping staff serve the 21st century guests. New players enter scene by the iconic hotel exit. Air and Science is innovative air purification technique that is based on a patent catalytic oxidation system. About Singapore legal, the Singapore Hotels Association encourages establishment to improve their environmental credentials with a biennial awards ceremony. The number of hotels receiving the association's Green Hotel Awards increased from 50 in 2009 to 30 in 2017. Sustainable buildings in Singapore are assessed by the government's building and construction authorities under the Green Mark scheme. The government said that it will set aside $60.4 billion from the initiatives. Of this, a total $5.6 billion will be used to help mitigate the impact of the virus on business and jobs. About Hong Kong legal factors, emergency ordinances, face mask bans, and curfew are not the best way to restore business confidence. Instead of suppressing the protest, the government needs to refine confidence in the rule of the law. Travelers from mainland China face jail if they defy new quarantine measures. About Singapore environment, 67% of travelers are willing to spend at least 5% more on their travel to ensure less impact on the environment. Sustainable buildings in Singapore are assessed by the government's Building and Construction Authority under the Green Mark scheme. 98% hotels have so far qualified at one of 4 sustainability levels. New buildings are required to meet minimum Green Mark standards. About Hong Kong environment, high demand for green program, sustainable strategies, including greenwashing, glass bottles, and vegetarianism. Hong Kong hotels have been advocating environmental practices since 2013 via its Sustainable Luxury Vision 2020. Hong Kong and Shanghai Hotels Director of Group Corporate Responsibility and Sustainability has called for its consolidation of industry standards to help curb the global climate crisis.
Hong Kong and Singapore are well known for their tourism and commerce, and they are well integrated in the regional transportation network. This gives rise to lots of business and leisure travelers, helping the variety thrive in two cities. I would like to mention is that upper middle scale hotels are up almost 42% in Hong Kong recent years, but the occupancy and relative data falling sharply. Same in Singapore, the table shows a low number of stable values from 2018, but it also shows the huge investment potential in hospitality market, which may impact on our decision making. Although the data shows the demand decreasing in 2019, since the protest in Hong Kong and coronavirus disease in worldwide range, there are still large potential demand about commercial activities, conference events, leisure activities, mergers and acquisitions, which may influence the demand in next 5 years. According to data from STR, the investment ratio of the two cities have fluctuated in recent years. The fact is that investors' sentiments will be affected in short term, but we don't focus a lasting negative drag on Asia Pacific's real estate. This means its two cities will gradually recover to their previous state of economic development once the virus is under control.
Hotel sector's choice is a crucial part of investing in hotel. We will make a competitive comparison between two cities in the hotel sectors. Here are the different rooms opening in Hong Kong and Singapore in different hotel sectors. Hilton has the same luxury and upscale brand in both cities, which are Conrad and Hilton Garden Inn. Neither Hong Kong nor Singapore is launched mid-scale and upper mid-scale hotel by Hilton. Hilton in Hong Kong has 1.9 total market share, excluding independent, while in Singapore is 3.6% of total market share. Hilton's market share in Hong Kong is significantly lower than that in Singapore. RevPAR shows hotel profitability and relationship between demand and supply. We can see clearly that a sharp decline in Hong Kong in 2019 because of the riot and coronavirus. These two issues have caused serious damage to Hong Kong's economy and tourism. Reported by ICR, in Hong Kong, hotel occupancy declined 4.1%, while ADR fell 9.1% and RevPAR dropped 12.9%. Well, things are different in Singapore, which had better numbers, but not by much. According to the data, the country surpassed 90% occupancy for the first time in its history. According to the Singapore Tourism Board, 9.3 million international visitors came to the country during the first 6 months of 2019. As a result, we chose mid-scale Hampton and luxury Waldorf Astoria as two different sectors brand. Hampton targeting customer positioning on middle market, which are tour group and families. Instead, Waldorf Astoria targeting customer positioning on high-end market, which are rich people. Both brands are invested under a franchise agreement with Hilton. As you can see, Hampton shows the lower cost and less room allocated. Waldorf Astoria cost is much higher than Hampton as 3 times of rooms, and the luxury brand needs to invest more money on human resources and construction. The spread of the coronavirus is affecting the world's economy, especially in large cities like Hong Kong and Singapore. But from another perspective, if realistic demand declines and price fall, then the cost of investing in hotels will decrease accordingly. Therefore, this is a good time to invest in a hotel.
People searched the Hilton more times than Marriott International in past 5 years based on Google Trends. However, Marriott International has more likes and followers on social apps than Hilton. As a result of protest activities in 2019 and the coronavirus pandemic in 2020, the occupancy of mid-scale sector in Hong Kong market had a big drop by 15.2%, the same as RevPAR and revenue. The supply increased year by year, but the demand decreased. Singapore still remains a healthy market. The occupancy only dropped by 1.9%, while other figures increased. Hilton only has 2 hotels in Hong Kong, Conrad and Garden Inn, and 3 hotels in Singapore, Conrad, Hilton, and Garden Inn. However, Marriott International has 13 hotels in Hong Kong and 12 hotels in Singapore. We think that the threat of substitute products and services is medium. It is low for Wardrobe in luxury market but high for Hampton in mid-scale market. Competitions may come from local hotels and some new types of staying, such as Airbnb. In 2017, Airbnb guaranteed revenues of 411 million, which is 33% of the revenues collected from the mid-scale and luxury hotels. It seems that the threat of new entries will decrease because owners are discouraged due to falling occupancy rate as supply increase. Singapore government decreased land space for hotels to support commercial projects that will affect foreign and local business guests. The power of consumer is low to Wardrobe because luxury hotels won't drop rate in order to protect their image. However, it is high to Hampton because mid-scale hotels modify prices to meet consumer rates. Hilton owners can also prevent consumers switching to another hotel company. The power of land supply is high because the government has kept the space for hotel development. As air connections are increasing and the costs are decreasing, the power of airline supply is low. Visa will no longer be the restriction as countries are increasing e-visas and decreasing conventional visas. Rivalry among existing firms is quite high because our hotels will not only meet competitions from Marriott International but also meet hotels such as the Peninsula, Mandarin Oriental, or Marina Bay Sands, and the services from those hotels nowadays are quite similar. We will recommend Hilton to open Hampton in Singapore because Singapore has a faster recovery time and it is less dependent on the China market. Singapore also needs a large number of hotel rooms to accommodate its visitors. Hampton is a franchised brand under Hilton, which may satisfy customer needs for both quality and price. It could also fill the vacancy in the mid-market for Hilton. Luxury hotels in Singapore are highly competitive and expensive to invest.